Greetings for everyone. I am Samira Osman. I am professor of History of Asia at Unifesp, the Federal University of São Paulo, Brazil. I have been researching about Arab immigration since my master's degree. I have been researching about the Arab immigration from Lebanon to Brazil with both communities, Muslims and Christian, with the first and second generation, women and men, and I have been working with the oral history methodology, so I have interviewed 17 persons in Brazil. For my PhD, I have studied the return of Arab immigrants and their descendants from Brazil to Lebanon. I have interviewed 50 persons in Lebanon, including men, women, and women of descendants, both communities, Muslims and Christians, from the first and second generation. Nowadays, my current research is about the refuge, and I have been interviewed Palestinians and Syrian refugees in Brazil using the oral history methodology. For this communication, I want to analyze the process of Arab return of the Lebanese who immigrated to Brazil in the 40s and 60s and returned to Lebanon and in the 80s and 90s. To this communication, I want to present some questions about the return. So, where do they return? Why do they return? Who wants to return? Who is the one to blame? For whom is the return good for? Does the return bring the family back together? And is the return definitive? I am considering the return according to the Algerian sociologist Abdelmalek Sayad that said, the return is the other side of the same coin called immigration, the sin of absence, the redemption, and a desire to return to a normality. For this communication, I want to present what the person who I have interviewed think about the return. The first question is, where do they return to? What do they know about Lebanon before the return? So, according to the first generation, everything was wonderful, and when I returned, everything was in the same way. There was no difference. And another man said, here is a good place. We don't have problems. Nobody cares about other people's lives. But according to the second generation, I hate this place since the first moment I got here. This is the countryside, the end of the road. And another one, Lebanon is the countryside, where there is nothing left to do. Living here is like being in a prison, trapped between four walls. The second question, why do they return? The reasons can be economic, cultural, and religions. And I will present the religious reasons. According to a Christian family, the wife says, the thing is my husband is a Lebanese. He thinks as a Lebanese, which means he would never accept their girls marrying Brazilians. And the husband says, I am not very open-minded. I am old-fashioned. I would never accept if the girls married a Brazilian guy, you know? And according to a Muslim family, our intention was that the kids would learn Arabic and mostly the Muslim faith. We come here so we don't lose our roots. It's important to keep it our sons and grandsons. And another woman. Here, our kids would have more opportunities to learn about Arabic and the Muslim faith. And they would live with people like us, people with the same origin, so they don't feel different like they used to be in Brazil. The other question, for whom is the return good for? Was the return positive for which one of these family members? So, according to the father, the boys liked here because they have more freedom. They loved here. And according to the son, I can't understand what we are doing here. What I want is to go back to Brazil. Another question. Does the return bring the family back together? For a woman, I went to bring the family together, but we ended up apart, each one in a different place, in Brazil, in Lebanon, and in Sweden. To another woman, our family was completely divided. Me, my mom, and my two sisters in Lebanon, my father and my brother Khaled in Venezuela, and my other brother Amir in Brazil. And the final question, is the return definitive? Nowadays, I know we can't live in Brazil anymore, said Father Abujamra. My future is not here. I think my future is in Brazil, said Samir El Kadri. I see my life in Brazil as a dream I woke up from, said Noah Abujamra. In my perspective, Brazil is already far away, said Wanda Aluan. And finally, honestly, I think I am never going back to Brazil, said Expedita Aluan. In conclusion, there are conflicts, problems, crises, paradoxes caused by immigration and return. Thank you very much. I want to thank you for your attention and thank you for the organization of the event.